I pushed against the door, but it seemed to be locked. The woman was doing something with a pair of needles that couldn't be described as knitting. She was a cheery old soul, the kind you'd walk across the street to avoid. They were lilies or tulips, some kind of flowers anyhow. Pretty, I guess, if you like that sort of thing. Me? I couldn't see the point of buying something that was already half dead. The last of the summer blooms on the flower stall were a reminder of the coming fall. Oh, hi.
Bonjour, monsieur. Would you like me to foretell your future?
No thanks.
I'm very good, and it only takes a minute.
Thanks all the same, but I'm not superstitious. Besides, if it only takes a minute, that's not much of a future to look forward to. Are the flowers for sale?
Oui, monsieur.
Okay. I'll take a bunch of those white ones.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
No?
They are lilies, monsieur. Some people associate them with death.
Yikes. Well, thanks for telling me. What other flowers do you have?
Dahlias?
What do they signify?
Insecurity.
I don't want to give her the wrong idea about me. What about the tall yellow ones?
Those are iris, the flame of passion.
And the little yellow ones?
Sensuality.
Well, they're no use to me. I want to make an impression, not jump down her throat. I've changed my mind. Will you tell my fortune?
You're going on a long journey.
My, oh my. What a surprise. Can you tell me anything I don't already know?
10 francs, please, my dear.
10 francs? That's a ripoff.
Please yourself.
How does this fortune-telling routine work?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be selling flowers for a living.
Haven't you ever wondered why you were blessed with the gift?
Well, it's a bit like satellite television, I suppose. Some of us are born with a built-in receiver dish. I just happen to be one of the lucky ones.
Can you really foretell the future?
Only time will tell, monsieur. The strange thing is, I can't seem to see myself in the future. Other people, I have no problem. But when I try to see what might happen to me, nothing.
That must be scary.
Maybe. I figure it's a kind of natural safety mechanism. Either that, or I don't have a future.
Do you know a young woman called Nicole Collard?
Yes, I do. She lives upstairs from me, in the apartment block across the street.
I tried the door, but it's locked.
You know, I've told the landlord about that a million times. It is the damp. The whole building is like a sponge. It sucks up the moisture from God knows where.
You mean the door is stuck because it's swollen?
That is correct. There is an art to opening it. Don't shove it hard. Just give it a gentle nudge above the lock.
Thanks for the advice. How long has Mademoiselle Collard lived here?
A few months. She's in for a shock when the cold weather comes. Drafty windows, insufficient heating. It's a struggle to keep warm. The only reason I stay is because the rent is cheap. Your young lady, she deserves better.
I thought Mademoiselle Collard was a successful photographer.
Not as successful as she makes out for all her fine clothes. Oh, I've heard her crying herself to sleep at night.
That's awful.
Now don't you let on that I've told you. She's proud, that one. Too proud, if you ask me.
What do you make of this tool?
Is it something a dentist would use?
No, it's for raising manhole covers.
Formidable.
Do you recognize this nose?
Non, monsieur.
What can you tell me about this tissue?
Nothing?
What can you tell me about this material?
It's a very expensive piece of cloth, monsieur.
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
Remembering the flower seller's advice, I pushed the door gently just above the lock.
Bonjour. I'm glad you could make it, monsieur.
Please, call me George.
Fine. I'm Nicole. Take a seat, George. Eh bien? And what have you been up to?
I've been exploring the sewers beneath the cafe.
I thought I could smell something bad.
The clown used the sewer to escape and to change out of his costume. I guess he was in a hurry. He left his jacket behind.
And?
I got his tailor's phone number. What's more, I know where he hired the clown suit, too.
He had better luck than I did.
Luck, she said. Luck! Hard work, I'd call it. What happened?
I took my photographs to the editor, but he wasn't interested. Can you believe it? He told me to drop his story.
But you're not about to do that.
Oh, no. I am going to find out what's behind these killings. You know what I think? It's a conspiracy. The police in 3 different countries have kept very quiet about the murders. The press don't connect them at all. They blame them on political, religious, or militant minority extremists.
Well, that covers just about everyone. This is the tool I used to get into the sewers.
Fascinating, George.
You're not interested, are you?
Oh, of course I am. I think it was very brave of you to go down those sewers.
Yeah? Well, it was kind of scary, but, well, I had a job to do. I found this false nose in the sewer. It has La Risée du Monde printed inside it.
The laughing stock of the world. It's a costume shop near the Gare Saint-Lazare.
I'll check it out. Maybe the owner remembers who hired the clown costume.
Why don't you put it on, George?
No way am I wearing this. I'd look really stupid. Besides, he might have had a cold. I found this tissue down the sewer.
Oh, that's disgusting, George.
I think the stuff on it is grease paint, like actors use. Or clowns.
It's still disgusting. Get rid of it.
I found a piece of material near the cafe. When I showed it to the concierge, he recognized it right away.
It's very distinctive, all right. Just wait until you see this. I developed the film I shot at the cafe. Here, George, it's an enlargement I made. Look what that guy's wearing.
Checkered pants. The same material as I found in the sewer.
That's right. This guy shouldn't be difficult to find.
Oh, no?
Take a close look at his left cheek.
A scar. In the shape of a horseshoe.
Oh, a crescent moon.
How come you enlarged this photograph of me?
Because I noticed the guy behind you, of course.
How did Plantow get your name?
For the newspaper, La Liberté, I'd written an article linking 2 unsolved murders, one in Italy and the other in Japan. The cases were remarkably similar. A wealthy victim, no apparent motive, and a costume killer. Plantow said he could supply me with more information. Somehow, the clown must have known about our appointment.
Tell me more about the clown's previous victims.
The first was Arno Bellotta, the millionaire pharmaceutical baron. He made his money from amphetamines in the post-war slimming and diet boom. Imagine it! Millions of housewives literally speeding their butts off.
Was he killed for his money?
No. He had no living relatives, and his fortune went to the orphanage where he grew up. The only witness in the case was his Filipino au pair. She swears he was led to his death by a snowman.
What about the clown's second victim?
Yamada, the controversial Japanese green politician. He inherited his fortune from his father's electrochemical consortium. He was committed to dismantling Japan's automobile industry.
I can't see him gaining much support with a loony policy like that.
Yamada was a man of vision. He was years ahead of his time.
If you say so. How did he die?
At the hands, or should I say, flippers, of a giant emperor penguin.
A snowman, a penguin, and now a clown. You know, I hate to admit it, but this is scary. And I'll tell you what, I won't be accepting any invitations to costume parties.
I don't blame you for being scared. I am too. But this story could be my only chance of a big break.
Or a premature death. You speak very good English for a French girl.
Thanks. You speak very good English for an American.
Tell me more about yourself.
Oh, there is not much to tell.
Well, how did you get into photography?
I guess I owe that to my father. He bought my first camera. I was 8 and my parents had just split up.
Did you live with your father?
Yes, my mother went off with her new boyfriend. I don't mind. Papa was all I needed. 4 years later, he died in a plane crash.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's all right. I don't mind talking about him. He was more like an older brother, really, always joking and laughing. Papa always wanted I should study art. That's why I went to college.
I'm going back out to search for that clown.
Where?
I guess I could visit the costume shop.
Good idea.
As my fingers closed on the plastic novelty, I realized my mistake. It was a novelty, all right, but it wasn't plastic. I gave the dummy Puro a tentative prod, but it didn't move. As I was about to touch the dummy, I realized it had the same color eyes as Nico. The strange thing was, I hadn't realized I'd noticed the color of Nico's eyes. The guy's spoon-shaped face was mournful and humorless. He looked like a vegetarian in a slaughterhouse. Excuse me?
Bonjour, monsieur. Please, come in. Welcome. Leave the mundane world behind. But in these four walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you ever dress up when you were a child?
Not that I remember.
Incredible. You'll be telling me next that you never shared your elder sister's lingerie.
I don't have a sister, and I think I'd look pretty silly in a brassiere. I just need some information.
Of course. How can I help you?
Have you heard of a man named Plantile?
I do not recall anyone of that name.
I'm looking for a man who hired a clown costume from you.
Oui, monsieur. I do not see how I can help.
Don't you keep a record of costumes that you've rented out?
Of course, monsieur, but...
Well, then I'd like to check your records. Give me the names of everyone who's rented a clown suit.
Impossible. There are too many.
The clown I'm looking for is a cold-blooded killer. Give me his name, and I'll see he's brought to justice.
I'd help you if I could, but you can't expect me to remember all my customers. You see, the clown costume is our most popular line, monsieur. On average, we hire out more than 30 clown suits a week. You'll have to give me more to go by. A description, perhaps?
Do you recognize this man?
Ah oui, he was here this morning.
How come clowns are so popular?
I think it has something to do with their unpredictable nature.
Personally, I think clowns should be banned, along with mimes.
Oh, come now. Who doesn't love clowns?
Me, for one. Are you sure this is the man who bought grease paint?
Oui, monsieur.
Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell that. Bestheimer's number 7 white pancake.
Theatrical grease paint, right?
Oui, monsieur. La crème de la crème of Thespian accoutrement.
Have you sold any of it recently?
Yes, 2 cans.
Do you want this red nose back?
Not after it's been worn, thank you.
What does this tool mean to you?
Nothing, monsieur.
Are you sure this is the man who bought grease paint?
Oui, monsieur. He chose 2 costumes. Bozo the clown and Seamus the pixie.
A pixie?
Very smart. Green silk with a taffeta lining. He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
Are you sure this is the same man who hired the clown suit?
Certainement, Monsieur Khan.
About this tissue.
I have already given you my professional opinion.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
You did not find it amusing?
I never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift?
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
Hello? Who is this?
Mr. Todrick?
Oh, it's you again. What now?
The man I'm looking for is called Khan. He bought a suit from you, remember?
Mr. Khan. Yes, I remember him. Yes, I delivered the suit to his hotel. The Hotel Ubu. I don't remember the room number. It was upstairs. The second room on the right-hand side of the corridor.
Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown. Excuse me.
Ah, Monsieur Stobart, n'est-ce pas?
That's correct. You remember me.
The retention of such data is part of my duty as a gendarme. That is how crime is fought, through attention to detail, not intuition.
Yes, sure. Would you like to shake my hand, Sergeant?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur. The gesture could be misconstrued.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur.
It's the guy who bombed the cafe. The clown.
This man looks nothing like a clown.
He's taken off his grease paint and costume.
Then there is nothing to link this man with the killing.
Nothing? Look at those murderous eyes.
Hardly likely to get him convicted.
Do you recognize this dirty tissue?
No, monsieur, I do not.
I found it in the sewer.
Perhaps it would be better if you put it back there.
No way. This could be an important clue.
If you say so, monsieur.
I found this red nose in the sewer.
What were you doing down there?
Fishing for clues. That's where the clown went.
You still insist you saw a clown, monsieur?
Of course. And this novelty nose proves it.
It will take more than a plastic proboscis to convince Inspector Rousseau.
You don't want this as evidence, then?
Certainly not, monsieur.
What do you suppose this tool is used for, Sergeant Moo?
It looks like something an obstetrician would use, monsieur.
It was with tools like this that the clown made his escape.
I don't understand.
He opened up the hole and disappeared into the bowels of the earth.
If you say so, monsieur.
Do you know a man named Khan? He's a shifty-looking guy with a scar on his left cheek.
No, monsieur. Has this man any connection with the bombing of the cafe?
Yes. I believe Khan was the name he used when he hired the clown costume. Is Rosso here?
Yes, he is. You wish to speak to him?
Yes, I do.
One moment, monsieur. Stobart is here to see you, monsieur.
Did he say what it was about?
No, monsieur.
Very well.
Hi, Inspector. Remember me?
But of course, Mr. Stobart. My mind is a well-ordered faculty. A mental classification system that's the envy of the Bibliothèque Nationale. No tricks, mark you, monsieur. Just exercise. Just as our muscles waste through inactivity, so our minds decay. But there is no need. If only people would learn to exercise their wits daily.
If he was trying to impress me, it worked. He was pompous and patronizing, but he had style.
Eh bien, if you called about the bombing, you're too late. Investigations have been closed. But I've been taken off the case.
What about the murderer, the dead guy?
It is out of my hands.
Don't you want to know what I found out about the killer?
I told you, monsieur, the case is closed. I have washed my hands of the whole affair.
Then I'll have to continue my investigations without your help.
No, you must forget the business of the clown completely. Go back to being an ordinary tourist, Stobart.
Did you find out the ID of the guy who was killed in the explosion?
I already knew who he was.
I heard that the bomb victim's name was Plantar.
Your sources are reliable.
He was a big shot at the Treasury, wasn't he? Maybe that's why you've been taken off the case.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I cannot comment.
What was that psycho-detective business you did in the cafe?
It is my theory that the passions evoked in violent crimes create ripples in the ether, invisible to all but the possessor of a highly developed and receptive mind.
I'm impressed. Can you bend spoons, too?
I didn't think a man of your obvious intelligence would stoop to mockery.
I'm not mocking. I've had personal experience of the power of the mind. I used to get ignored at parties until I read a book that changed my life.
Really? What was it called?
Hypnotism for Fun and Profit. He looked at me as if I'd farted at a funeral.
The power of mesmerism is a rare gift, not a party trick.
You're not going to try any of that psychic interrogation on me, are you?
Do you find the thought of my probing distasteful?
Let's just say I'd rather you didn't. I've got more doubts than doubting Thomas when it comes to mysticism.
Too bad. I think you would make an interesting subject under controlled regression.
The day I let anyone mess with my mind hasn't dawned yet. What do you make of this, Rosso?
It is a tool for gaining access to sewers.
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
I'd imagine it means you have not given up your pursuit of the clown.
You're absolutely right. I found this tissue in the sewer.
It would have been best if you'd left it there.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No.
It's the face of a killer.
The man who bombed the cafe?
The photograph was taken soon after the explosion. He'd escaped through the sewers, leaving a trail of clues behind him.
Circumstantial evidence, Stobbard. None of it proves a thing.
Would you care to shake my hand, Inspector?
Please don't be offended if I decline your offer, Stobbard. The palms of my hands are particularly sensitive.
So long, Inspector. Oh, hi.
Hello, my handsome friend.
Would you like to shake my hand?
No, I wouldn't. I can see the future, remember?
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
What a hunk.
He's a killer.
I can see that. His eyes say it all.
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
I found the address of the hotel where Khan the killer stayed.
Yeah? Is he still there?
I'm not sure. The guy at the novelty shop gave me this.
What is it?
A hand buzzer. You put it in your hand and give people electric shocks.
Why?
It's a gag, a practical joke.
If you ever use it on me, I'll break your arm.
Okay. I get the picture. What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, George.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh, well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking? Have you found out any more about the murders?
Well, it may be nothing, but both the clan's victims visited Paris earlier this year.
When?
The second week of July. They were both here at the same time.
Did they meet?
I don't know, but I can't imagine it was coincidence.
May I use your telephone?
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks. No point in phoning that guy again. See you later.
Where are you going now?
I could go hang out at the Hotel Ubu.
Watch out for Khan, George.
Don't worry, I will. The guy looked just like a weasel. The man looked like an amiable Bigfoot. The sign listed the price of rooms, and boy, were they expensive. The killer must have been earning a fat wad to pay for accommodation like this. The lobby was quiet, almost deserted. The woman was obviously English. She had all the qualities of Boadicea, Elizabeth I, and Margaret Thatcher rolled into one. It wasn't a pretty sight. Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment I thought, but never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
I'm looking for a murderer.
Good heavens! You're a private detective.
That's correct, ma'am.
What's the term you Americans use? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I believe what you're thinking of is Dick.
Precisely.
Have you come across a man who calls himself Khan?
I am familiar with only one person named Khan.
Genghis Khan, the legendary Mongol barbarian chieftain?
No, darling. Kevin.
Kevin Khan? I never heard of him.
I'd be most surprised if you had, darling. He's a pharmacist in Hemel Hempstead. Organizes fundraising for the Rotarians. Lovely man.
Does he have a scar on his cheek?
I really wouldn't know, sweetie.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. The wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
Who was the guy who led you on?
His name is Merlin.
Can you think of any use for this tool, ma'am?
Oh, I can think of someone I'd like to use it on.
Do you know what this is?
At a guess, I'd say it was a clown's nose.
That's right. It was worn as a disguise by a vicious killer.
Good heavens, are you trying to alarm me?
It's true. He uses the name Khan. Does this tissue mean anything to you?
Good God, no.
I just thought the smell might be familiar.
Please, darling, put it away. I'm no shrinking violet, but that object makes me feel quite queasy.
Would you like to shake my hand, ma'am?
Now, George, there's no need to be so formal. We met as tourists, and I want to keep it that way, despite the enormous social gulf between us.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him! That's Merlin!
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest. He's the man I've been telling you about. That's the man who spurned me.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honor. You know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah. I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantow's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I could get in there, I would. I have to go, ma'am. Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know a guy called Plantow?
I don't know anybody in Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have. Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Hello again. Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England. Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Have you any idea what this tool might be used for?
I cannot guess.
Would it mean anything if I told you it was for lifting drain covers?
Such technology fills me with wonder.
What does this clown's nose suggest to you?
In my country, we have no use for clowns.
I'm glad to hear it.
They were dealt with most severely in the last cultural cleansing.
What about the mimes? Did you get them too?
All gone. Our streets are mime-free.
Sounds like heaven. Does this goo-smeared tissue mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. May I shake you by the hand?
I do not shake the hands of imperialist dogs.
Now that's a real bad attitude problem you've got there. What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer.
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
There was no one registered under the name of Khan. If the killer was staying here, he'd used a different pseudonym. There was no one registered under the name of Khan. If the killer was staying here, he'd used a different pseudonym. It was the register of guests staying at the hotel.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You were trying to steal that key, no?
No way. I want some information.
Who are you? The police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
About the key hanging on the hook over there.
Oui, monsieur.
Which room is it for?
Number 21.
Is that room taken?
No. The guests checked out this morning.
I'd like to check into room 21.
That is not possible.
How come? You said it was vacant.
It is reserved for another guest.
Rats.
No, monsieur. Dutch.
Do you know a man named Plantow?
No, monsieur.
I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so. I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats. What do you make of this tool?
Stunning, monsieur. I bet you handle it like a professional.
Do you recognize this red nose?
Non, monsieur.
What do you make of this tissue?
Do you wish me to dispose of it for you, monsieur?
Hey, no! It could be useful. I'm holding on to this.
As you wish, monsieur. Perhaps you would like a little plastic baggie to keep it in?
Nah, it's fine the way it is. Hey, shake my hand.
I'd rather not, monsieur. I'm still sore from the shock administered by one of the guests. He was secretly concealing an electrical device in the palm of his hand. Practical jokes are so puerile, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, sure. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
Can you tell me which room the man in the photograph is taken?
Oh, no, monsieur. That information is confidential.
Thanks for your help, buddy. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
Oh, no. It's the key to an empty room.
And why, may I ask, do you wish to gain access to an empty room? Do you plan to squat?
No, ma'am.
Scouts honor?
I was never in the Boy Scouts, ma'am.
Oh, you should have been. What were your parents thinking of? It's a fine way for a boy to get licked into shape. Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
It's next to the room the killer is using.
Ah, so you plan to eavesdrop on Merlin?
I was hoping there might be a connecting door.
I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick.
Madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, Madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewelry for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, Madame.
Over to you, my dear.
The sign on the door read 21. Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key. There was nothing in the wardrobe apart from a vague, lingering smell of camphor. If I wanted my shins sticking out of my shoulders, I could have jumped. Mama Stobar didn't raise no suicidal fools, though. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty. The bed was freshly made, and the crisp white sheets told me nothing about the killer's habits. There was nothing in the pockets of the pants. The pants were newly laundered and pressed with immaculate creases. The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom. I couldn't believe my luck when I found two items in the pockets of the pants. The first was an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. The second was a pass card which read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation. The matchbook bore a pattern of swirling color and the words, Club Alamut. It was the card I'd found in the hotel bedroom. It read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation. There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin.
What now, monsieur?
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No, monsieur.
Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe. I can live with that.
Thanks for your help, buddy. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I got the key. Thanks for your help, ma'am. Do you want this key?
No, thank you, darling.
I found this matchbook in Merlin's bedroom.
It came from the Club Alamut. It might be useful to find out if that club is in Paris, George.
I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has a million faces. I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers, but he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George! Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but
What's the problem?
he isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Is this what you're after, Guido?
See, that's it.
I can explain everything. Well, almost everything.
Too late. You're on your way to feed the fishes.
I'm allergic to fish. I break out in blotches when I eat tuna.
Let's go.
It was the ancient manuscript which Khan had stolen from Plantow. The door was locked. I knew this was no way to treat an ancient manuscript, but I couldn't let it fall into the hands of the goons waiting outside. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Would you like to keep Merlin's pass as a memento?
No, darling. My broken heart is reminder enough.
I have to go, ma'am.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I had to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
Hey, Shorty, I didn't think much of your trick, little man. I don't know what you're looking for, but you picked on the wrong guy. Maybe you'll spread the word around the sewers. George Stobart is on the case. That's Stobart. 2 B's and 2 T's. It sounded impressive to me, but the weasel didn't seem to share my enthusiasm. Still, I figured he'd think twice before gunning me down in the street in cold blood.
I do not like your tone.
Oh, yeah? And what are you going to do about it?
If you do not go away, I will gun you down in cold blood, right here in the street, without thinking twice about it.
Do you know a man by the name of Khan?
No, I don't.
It's very important I get to see him, and...
I told you, I don't know it.
Will you shake my hand?
Are you joking? Who knows where it has been?
Have you heard of a guy called Plantar?
No, that name means nothing to me.
I'm looking for a clown.
Are you trying to be funny?
No, I really am looking for a clown.
There are no clowns here except you.
What does this tool suggest to you?
Hard labor.
Have you ever seen this clown's nose before?
No.
What does this tissue mean to you?
Are you serious?
Oh, yes. Take a good look at the substance it's smeared with.
You are sick. Very sick.
Do you recognize the guy in this photograph?
No, I never saw it.
What does this key mean to you?
Nothing.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
It is just a matchbook. Why should I recognize?
Do you know a guy called Merlin?
No.
Forget it. Excuse me.
Yeah?
Don't you think you have some explaining to do?
Huh?
I'm an American citizen and a bona fide visitor to your country.
What the...
You can't touch me up in the street and expect to get away with it.
Get lost, creep.
If the manuscript was what Flap and Guido were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment and check it out. You're just not going to believe what I've found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the U-boot.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantark?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive. But the treasure of the Knights Templar was never found.
Jeez. So the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping. Think about it, Josh. One guy's already died for it, as you said yourself. Besides, that parchment is fragile.
Okay, I'm convinced. You keep hold of it. I found Plantow's briefcase in the killer's hotel room. It was empty, of course. I found this matchbook in the killer's hotel room. It's from the Club Alamut.
Never heard of it. Is there anything written inside it?
No, what were you expecting?
If this was a movie, there'd be a clue, a name or an address. That's no use. There aren't even any matches in it.
Oh well, I'll keep it as a souvenir. I found this in the killer's room.
What is it, a credit card?
ID, Thomas Merlin, of the Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Never heard of him or the company.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobino.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobino guy?
At the Krohn Museum. I'll give you the address.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the Wicked Queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said mirror, mirror on the wall, wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid, Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either. There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces. A knight with a crystal ball. There's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
Through my teachings, you will be enlightened. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover. It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod. Maybe I'll check out the Krohn Museum.
I'm sure you'll find it useful, George.
Through the grimy glass, I could see several large shapes in a gloomy room. What they were, I couldn't imagine. I considered smashing my fist through the pane, wrenching open the window, and vaulting triumphantly into the building. Then I thought, no, that's dumb. Besides, I might get hurt. A real macho guy would have plunged straight into the spiky, scratchy bushes. Not me. Access to the side and rear of the museum building was blocked by a dense clump of bushes. Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
Are you Lobino?
Oh, no. Fancy you mistaking me for him. No. I am the deputy custodian.
But Lobino does work here.
Work? I wouldn't go so far as to call it that. He studies here most days, but as you can see for yourself, not today.
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. Not a sausage.
Do you know anything about medieval manuscripts?
Not me, monsieur. I am no scholar, though people often mistake me for one. It is the uniform, I guess. They see the clothes. They are impressed.
And they ask you to park their cars?
They ask me to park the... No, no, no. They assume I am an authority on the exhibits in my care.
Whereas you know next to nothing about history.
Of course not. All I am saying is, I am no scholar. Not like Monsieur Lobino.
What does this tool mean to you?
That belongs in a museum.
Pardon?
It is a priceless historical artifact, if I am not mistaken.
No, it's a plain old tool for lifting drain covers. Do you recognize this red nose?
I don't think so.
What do you make of this tissue?
It is absolutely disgusting, monsieur.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur. Is there any reason why I should?
I guess not. Would you like to shake my hand?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur.
Have you ever heard of the Club Alamut?
Oh, no. I don't frequent places like that.
Do you recognize this ID pass?
No.
Thanks for your help. The rod turned smoothly, and the window above me opened. In the case was a spindly tripod, blackened with age and pitted with rust. It was identical to the tripod pictured on the manuscript. A notice identified it as 15th century from Western Ireland. It had been found in Loch Marne at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory. Ireland!
What's that?
This tripod was found in Ireland.
I will have to ask you to keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I was excited. The case contained the tripod shown on the manuscript. As I reached toward the display case, a shrill piping filled the air. I froze, then tried to get myself together and act nonchalantly.
No! No, monsieur. No.
What's wrong?
You must not enter the exhibits.
I'm sorry.
Watch out! You will have that done on top of us!
Touching an object as rare and beautiful as that would have been the act of a barbarian.
Leave it alone. That closet is over 3,000 years old.
Closet? It's a sarcophagus. This is ridiculous. I could be here for hours. The tripod was definitely the one on the manuscript. The Templar connection confirmed it. I was tempted to go to Ireland to check it out. Several hours later, I arrived in Ireland, the Emerald Isle. I'd been lucky to get a bus from Dublin to the tiny village of Lochmarn. On the way out, the driver told me there was only one service a day.